Well, hi, Mark. Just in the last few minutes, we've noticed the wind picking up here, and you might be able to see the rain has started again. But certainly tonight, earlier, a much more frightening situation for folks here on this street and the surrounding area, as some extremely heavy winds blew through, and along with some extremely heavy rains as well. Just take a look behind me here. You can see this large pine tree uprooted, fallen over, but more extreme, take a look to my left over here. You can see this large tree fallen over on top of that house right into the garage. Those folks aren't home, but I'll tell you what, you can see there is some extreme damage there. When they return, they are going to get quite a surprise. But certainly it was a huge surprise for folks here and around the area. The man who owns this tree, John Hargreaves, come on over here, John. He was telling me a little bit earlier about what he heard and saw as the storm rolled through. Thanks for joining us. Certainly sad to see your tree. We're going to get to that in just a second. But tell me what you saw as the storm came through tonight.
Well, the first thing we noticed was the wind made an unusual roaring noise. I've never heard anything quite like it. It was very different sounding than when we had the big storm come through a couple of years ago, the big wind storms. My wife started yelling, "The tree's moving." I'm getting out of the living room. By the time I got upstairs, most of the noise had settled down. I come out. First thing I noticed was my tree was down. I had branches on my car. As I walked towards my tree, I saw the surprise for my neighbors.
Which is going to be a surprise once they return. So tell me, this tree has a lot of sentimental value. Tell me about that. You've been here for 18 years.
Right. 18 years ago, it will be 18 in August. This was our first Christmas tree. It's a Colorado blue spruce. We bought it. It was only about 4 to 5 foot tall at the time. We planted it. We just thought it would be a nice thing to put in the yard to mark our moving here.
And so you were telling me earlier, John, what are your plans for this tree? You're not giving up on it yet.
No. It doesn't look like any big roots are broken on it, smaller ones, of course. We're going to try to upright it and stake it down and see if it won't root out and survive this mess, because it is a beautiful tree.
It certainly is, even though it's on the ground right now, but we wish you the best with that. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate it. But the good news here, too, is that we have not had any reports of injuries or certainly deaths, which is great. But Mr. Hargreaves was also telling me where this tree is right here is a major gas line through this area. So again, very lucky for the folks here. A couple blocks away on Garber, I was talking to Mr. Paul Cobb. He told me another frightening scene at his house. Take a listen.
Well, the wind came through and knocked my trees down, yanked my power out of the house, and did some damage. I don't know what kind yet. Hadn't looked at it all yet.
Well, we also surveyed the damage, and unfortunately not only the trees, but also some awnings. His hot tub turned upside down along with the trampoline in his backyard. A big tree, playground, limbs on the car. Just more stories. We were sitting here tonight. A man drove by and said there's more damage just down the street. So folks here certainly trying to survey the damage here in the dark, but I'm sure they will get a much clearer picture when they wake up tomorrow morning. Reporting live, Michelle Kingsfield, 2 News on your side. Back to you, Mark.